Hey, how are you this week? People tell me all the time that they can't meditate. It's such a common thing I hear. People say, I can't meditate because my mind is too busy. I can't meditate because I'm too busy. My mind jumps around. And often if I push a little bit, they'll say, well, I really like the idea of meditation. I just can't do it myself. And so I use Insight Timer and I listen to guided meditations, which is fine. Those are nice. Or I wash the dishes and find it meditative, or I go for a run and I find that meditative. So there's so many reasons why people think they can't meditate and why they need an app to meditate, which is fine. I'm trying to be nice. I think apps are fine for what they are. But the whole point of meditation is to take that distracted mind, what the yogis call the gyanendriyas and the karmendriyas. The gyanendriyas are your senses and your eyes and your ears and mouth, nose, senses, touch. They're going out all the time looking for stuff. That's the whole point. So if you're using an app, it means you're listening to a guided meditation, which, as I said, no problem. It's meditative, but it doesn't take that Gyanendriya of hearing and turn it internally so that you're listening inside, which is actually traditionally what is instructed. And then the other issue is like, what if you want to meditate while you're swimming or walking or whatever, and you find that very hypnotic and meditative, great, like keep doing that. Awesome. And eventually you want to get to the place where you can shut down the karmendriyas, which are the motor organs, so that you can take that internally as well. Take that energy internally and be using that internal energy for the focus and attention that's so important in meditation. This is the key, is being able to do a meditation without your cell phone, being able to do a meditation without guidance. And I don't want to say it's the key, it's the goal. There is definitely a telos, a goal. People say there's no goal in yoga. I would suggest maybe could study the tradition a little bit more, because there's absolutely a teleology or goal in this practice, which is to realize your true nature as awareness, or as the eternal, or as the one, however you want to put it that way. That's definitely a point to the practice. Which doesn't mean that the journey isn't wonderful and exciting and fun. It is, it's wonderful to be able to do meditation regularly and just enjoy the benefits of it, even if you don't want to become one with the universe. So anyway, all that being said, sometimes we have so much busyness, we have so much going on in our mind, and we live in such a crazy world, and we're in the middle of a pandemic still, and it's getting worse in some states, and we have anxiety issues, and we have childhood trauma issues, and we have developmental things that happen to us, and we just need meditation, but we need help. So I remember when I first learned to meditate, this was back in the 80s, it's late 80s. I was living in the Bay Area, and I, took a couple of meditation classes, and it was just like, see a blue sky, and I thought, blue sky, okay, I'll try that. My mind was all over the place. And then I moved to Japan, so I was trying to do Zen, and my mind was really all over the place. Like, it did not work for me. That's just not it didn't work for me. And that's what's so beautiful about meditation, is there's many different kinds. You do find the one that works for you. I would never tell anybody to not do the meditation that works for them, right? And the yoga tradition has so many different meditation techniques. And one of them that I love is using the hands. And this is called nyasa. Nyasa, well, it's like a hand version of nyasa. There's many, many nyasas. But that word nyasa, which I wrote in the description there with a long A, nyasa, means something like to install with reverence something sacred into the body. So the hands are wonderful, and the nyasa practices are so powerful because they take that busy feeling that goes in your hands. This is like why people like to knit and do needlepoint, and I mean, of course, to make beautiful things, but also because it's like, I do something with my hands, and the hand, or why some people bite their nails, because like the hands are so busy. They're just like these little creatures that like to do things all the time. So what if we put them to work and we give them to something to do that helps the mind to still? So that's one of the way, like sort of the impetus or the rationale behind nyasa. So this nyasa, there's so many different ones, but I want to show you like one of the most basic ones. You do the universal okay sign first for a breath, and then middle finger, and then ring finger, and then little finger. It usually starts that way. Personally, like I'm a little bit of a rebel, and I love to start with my pinky and go the other way. I don't know, I might get pulled over by the yoga police for that, but I just kind of like doing it that way. But traditionally, it's usually index first, and then middle, ring, and pinky. So, and you just do a breath. If you want to fill that breath up with a mantra like Om, you can do that too. Another way. And another one. Some of you might know this because it became very famous from the Satanama Kirtan Kriya or Sudarshan Kriya, they call it, right? Ding, 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 ding. You're just touching, and then you do Satanama. So fast can be great too, because without the breath, because that could be really good when your mind's going all over the place. Just, okay, I'm just going to think about one thing, whether it's Satanama or I am peace. I am peace. And you can give peace 2 counts if you want. You know, you can do all sorts of things with it, like I am relaxed. You can do whatever you want. Give it. Or if you have a mantra, like my mother loves Kyrie eleison, right? Because she is Christian and she likes that Greek meaning, like Christ have mercy, like that's a good one for her. So, you know, you find the mantra that kind of fits with like a 4 count beat. And then you don't have to do the breath, or you could just do breath, 1 breath for each finger, if you like that one better. Eventually that'll help slow the mind down a little bit from all the fast stuff that we do. But when your mind is fast and you've been thinking about a gazillion things and you're like, you know, the onslaught of the 24/7 news cycle, and you're hearing all sorts of stuff, and things are crazy in your life, having something that helps to bring you back down to earth, to ground you, remember what is real, remember what your values are, reminding yourself of all those things, reminding yourself of your sense of identity, your sense of meaning. That's like what meditation does, right? So I find that like having a regular meditation practice, I meditate every morning and every evening, even though sometimes I only meditate for 10 minutes. You know, I don't have that much time sometimes. But when I do have time, what I noticed is that if I can meditate for 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes, once I get to 30 minutes, like I can just keep going, because it's you know, you get your nervous system in that place where now you're like enjoying it and you're riding the waves as opposed to just like trying to force it. I want to tell you one more thing before I finish, which is a long time ago, I heard a meditation teacher saying, when you feel like getting up for meditation, and I'm not talking about like your inside timer stopped at 10 minutes, I'm talking about like you were doing a meditation practice by yourself. When you feel like getting up, he said, that's often because that's your samskara. So samskara is a word that means something like reactive momenta. It's like the potential of some unkind or resolved thing in your mind that is being expressed. And sometimes it's a pattern that we have, you know. I remember for years, you know, I've been meditating for like almost 30 years now. And I remember, has it been that long? No, 25 years. But I remember at one point in my meditation, I got to this place where every day I would meditate and I'd be like, okay, I'm done. And I would open my eyes and it would be exactly 31 or sometimes 32 minutes. Like every time I'd be like, how do I know? How does my body know that? And at that point, a lot of times I would get up and stop meditating. But sometimes if I pushed through that resistance, then I would actually have more beautiful meditations, you know, more kind of like meaningful and softer. That's really, that word soft comes to me a lot when I think about meditation, because meditation softens the hardness, the armoring that we have to put on to deal with in our culture. And believe me, like You got to put that armor back on when you go back out into the jungle. But to be able to have the option of taking it off, that's what meditation starts to do. Not only does it take off the armor, it starts to create softer and softer feelings, like increasingly softer feelings. And it has a lot to do with the heart, I think. But that if that's the goal of meditation, that I think that's enough. If you don't want to become one, but you want to feel softer, the world needs a lot more softness, doesn't it? And individuals that are committed to being softer and being softer with themselves and being softer with each other. So I hope that this little talk about meditation inspires you to try to meditate. And I'm really not trying to make fun of Insight Timer or any other app or any other tool that you use for meditation, because, whatever you're doing that's helping you to be still is great. And just keep in mind that eventually letting go of all of it so that you can take all that energy and turn it within and use it as your fuel for transformation. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful practice. And what else is life about? The Ramakrishna mission says Atmano Moksha Jagadishya Cha, which means that this life is about becoming clearer about who you are, a liberation of the individual. Atmana Moksha means the liberation of the individual, and the service, and helping the world. Jagadishya Cha. Jagat means universe, serving the universe, helping other people. And to understand who you are, to achieve that liberation, the prescription has been for thousands of years to sit and meditate and realize your true nature. I hope this is helpful. It's been nice to be here, and I'll see you next week. Take care.